Hello dear friends, welcome to another video of the Never Do Through the GUI what you can do through the CLI channel. I am Vangelis and today we will be exploring Web API benchmarking Rust Axum vs Rust Warp. Axum is another Rust framework, Rust web framework, and I wanted to test it myself too, but a friend of mine also asked me and told him, basically he told me that he is interested in such a benchmark between Axum and Warp or actix-web. So today I am creating this benchmark. I have the code here, but there will be a link in the description of the video for the GitHub repo in order for you to check it more carefully if you want. So I will leave this. These are the two endpoints that we will be using. This is the Axum endpoint and this is the Warp endpoint. This is where the Axum is running here and Warp. So we are ready to start benchmarking. So let's start with Apache Bench and we will execute 100,000 requests and 1,000 concurrent requests. So let me prepare this for a moment. And we are starting. For some reason we are done already. For some reason I got cargo as a executable, but anyways it doesn't matter. We have our requests. So let me go here and benchmark the Warp API. Same amount of requests, same concurrency, so let's get it on. As Marvin Gaye says, same amount of CPU usage approximately, memory approximately the same. So let's check our results. Time taken 6.9 for Axum, 6.6 for Warp, failed request 0 for both of them, requests per second 14,000.4, 15,000, time per request 69 milliseconds, 66 milliseconds, transfer rate 1,433,000, 1,433,000, 1,494,000. And percentage of requests, these are the numbers. So as you can see, the result is quite comparable. This is the most striking difference that we have between the two frameworks, and this of course, but I have run some more benchmarks and they all show that the stats fluctuate. Fluctuate between the two frameworks. Sometimes Axum is a little bit faster, sometimes Warp is a little bit faster, and this depends on the execution and on the underlying processes of the system. So the overall result that I got from my benchmarks and from this benchmark, as you can see yourselves, is that they are quite comparable. There are no noticeable differences. So either Axum or Warp is a very good bet to choose. So now let's proceed to the WRK benchmark. 6 threads, 1,000 concurrent, and for 60 seconds in order to have some time to check the system. Starting. Memory usage 23 megabytes, CPU 50% for the Rust Axum. Interesting that the process name is cargo, even though it is named as API Axum, as you can see here. Just a small detail. I don't know why this happens, and I don't care. Just a simple, another quirk of the systems. Okay, we have our result. Let's come here and let's get same things for Warp API. You see the port, we are hitting the correct system. So let's check. Same usage, CPU usage, same amount of memory overall. Visually the performance of the system is the same, as you can see. Plus these stats here are the same, almost the same amount of CPU usage, same amount of memory, which for both frameworks is less compared to actix-web for this benchmark. actix-web was using more than 100 megabytes of memory for this benchmark, for the WRK benchmark, whereas these two frameworks use the same amount of memory, which is less, and it's about 20 megabytes. So we have our results. Latency 57 milliseconds, 56 milliseconds. Max latency 363 milliseconds. Max latency 607 milliseconds. Request per second 3.18K, 3.12K. Max 5.59K, 4.84K. Requests, total requests 1,116, 1,137. 18.5 thousand per second, 18.9 thousand per second. Yes, 18,900 here, 18,500 here. 1.76 gigabytes, 1.8 gigabytes. So again, here in this benchmark, you see that we have quite comparable results. Overall, from the benchmarks that I have run, I see that for this specific benchmark, Warp is always outperforming Axum for a small fraction, let's say. These are the differences that we are talking about. Which means that the two frameworks are comparable. Again, I wouldn't pay too much attention to these differences, because, as I said, also the runs for the system make this fluctuate a little bit. But overall, yes, Warp is a little bit faster, seems to be a little bit faster, but the execution for both frameworks and for Rust overall and for Rust actix-web, which we don't use in this benchmark, is so fast and so efficient that whichever framework you're choosing, you're making a good choice, in my mind at least. So I think the major point in choosing the framework is the framework ergonomics, I would say. Warp is quite different regarding its ergonomics than Axum and actix-web. So I think it boils down to what you prefer as a framework. Warp has a more functional way of setting up things, whereas Axum and actix-web are more straightforward, are like the way we have been used to building APIs with other frameworks in Node.js, for example, or the Python frameworks where you define your routes, etc. It's more straightforward, at least for me. So yes, this is I would suppose, the main factor in choosing, not the main, but one of the main factors while choosing your framework. Yeah, this is the information. What we take away is that the systems are quite comparable. You have two good frameworks here. You can pick whatever makes more sense for you. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.